It's a steroid story about the greatest, best player in the game, the richest player in the game. And he had been on 60 Minutes just a year and a half earlier, you know, looking right into the lens and saying, you know, I've never used and I've never been tempted to use. So this flew in the face of everything we thought we knew about Alex Rodriguez. I was as shocked as anybody. I did not know that this was who he was. I thought, flawed character, has some issues, polarizing figure, but I thought he was clean.
Right.
And I think that when I got to that point of, you know, this is a steroid story, the book had already been in place. It was more of a profile piece of the book. It was more about his relationship with his father. It was about his relationship with the fans and teammates and things like that. So this threw a whole nother layer to Alex that was really, to me, worth sort of taking a peek into and looking into. And that's sort of how he came full circle from Alex, the profile, polarizing figure, but who is this guy, to Alex, who has had, you know, a life of steroid use, a life that has been certainly formed a great deal by a childhood trauma, a life that involved playing on the field and cheating on the field with pitch tipping. So a lot of those things I had no idea about. I think what we have in the steroid era a lot of times is physical evidence. Now, when you look at his high school days, and he says, he's on the record and saying, talking about his high school days, that he could barely lift 100 pounds as a sophomore. So as a sophomore, and then a year before that I talked to his high school coach, he could barely lift the bat, he sprayed everything to right field, he was a skinny kid, no muscle whatsoever. He was growing, but he was not developing physically. You go and you flash forward to his junior year, where he'll tell you that he was able to bench press 310 pounds. Well, I went back and I talked to experts about that. And you can say, well, all the sourcing and everything else. Well, there's an expert on the record who worked with Alex as a Ranger, knew his body, knew what he's capable of, knew what he was doing then, and says on the record in the book, say, listen, it is a red flag. It is impossible for a teenager at that stage, for anybody at that stage, to put 200 pounds on their bench press in that period of time and have it not be about steroids. So if you want to disregard whatever else you want to disregard, the physical proof, which is what we have in the steroid era, the physical proof is right there for you to look at. I believe that through the sources I talked to, that they proved to be credible, they proved to be consistent, and they proved to be somebody who would be knowledgeable of the situation. And that's what you do as a reporter. You're not at the crime scene. You're reporting what your witnesses are telling you. That's the same thing we do in steroid era when we don't have a drug test. So that's what I've done. I've reported it out. It can be debated, and I can understand that debate, and I'm not against debate in any manner. I was a columnist for years at the Times. I know about debate. So it's okay. I'm okay with that coming back, and I would say, hey, listen, this is the reporting. You don't have to agree with it, but it is what it is, and so we have that on the surface.